Hello MotoGP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Jorge Lorenzo has thrown his weight behind Pecco Bagnaia after encouraging showings in the Sepang preseason work. Lorenzo, talking on the official MotoGP site, stresses that Bagnaia's talent hasn't vanished. It was masked by a tricky year and small technical details that can make a huge difference at the very top. Below are expanding on what Lorenzo said and why it matters for Bagnaia, Ducati and the 2026 title race. A light-hearted social media sketch from the champion has roiled the paddock. His mock 2027 grid picks read like a cheeky game of musical seats. But the choices carry a clear subtext for the factory. Below each built around a single line from the piece and unpacking why the joke might be a nudge or a warning. At the Sepang shakedown and official test, the new Yamaha V4 took center stage, and not always for the right reasons. After limited running and an early exit through injury, Fabio Quartararo painted a blunt picture of where the M1 stands compared with the class leaders. Yamaha's ambitious 2026 MotoGP project hit an early test at Sepang when a technical concern forced the team to halt track action. Managing director has now detailed why the garage doors stayed closed, and why there was never any thought of turning back to last year's bike. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. After a difficult 2025, Bagnaia arrives at the 2026 preseason with expectations tempered by reality, but bolstered by encouraging lap times and a clearer feeling on the revised machine. Lorenzo's endorsement isn't sentimental, it's technical. He knows what elite performance looks like and he can see the underlying tools still there. That kind of public support from a three-time world champion matters because it shapes narrative, calms sponsors and gives a rider breathing room to rebuild confidence on track. Pecco is still a champion. He's an incredible rider, super fast, super talented, super precise, and he didn't show that last year. MotoGP is often decided by tiny margins, a tenth here, a different rear ride height setting there, and Lorenzo stresses this from experience. Bagnaia's 2025 problems were not a disappearance of skill but a battle with setup and feel, especially at the front end. When the bike and rider click, the results follow quickly. When they don't, even a multiple race winner can look lost. Lorenzo's recollection of rule and tire shifts from his own career underlines how external changes can instantly alter a rider's window for success. In this environment, where everyone is the best of the best, the small details are very important. Contracts and market moves for 2027 are already whispering through the paddock, and a single off year can skew perception. Lorenzo cuts to the heart of it. Results influence how teams value riders, sometimes more than past achievements. That reality puts extra pressure on Bagnaia this season. He must not only improve but prove consistency. Yet Sepang's initial signs of improved feel give a credible pathway back to the front. Lorenzo's backing reinforces the message that form can be regained, but it also acknowledges the cold arithmetic of the market. His poor results didn't reflect what he's capable of. And I think when he feels more comfortable with the bike, he'll show that he's a title contender. Lorenzo doesn't just hand out praise. He speaks from having been on both sides of mechanical and rule-driven swings in performance. He remembers how small regulation shifts once ruined a promising start to his season. That memory makes his support for Bagnaia empathetic but realistic. The takeaway for fans and team management: give Bagnaia the technical time and calm to rebuild rhythm. But expect the merciless logic of MotoGP. If he can put the pieces together, the championship conversation returns. Perhaps from the outside it didn't seem like much, but for me it changed a lot of things, and my results were very bad at the beginning of the season. Lorenzo's words are both encouragement and a reminder. Talent alone won't rewrite a season. The bike, the setup and consistency do. Bagnaia's Sepang return gives him the platform. Now it's down to putting track time into reliable performance. If he does, Lorenzo predicts, not wishfully, but with the authority of experience, that Bagnaia will show the title credentials everyone still expects. He put the younger brother alongside an old rival and smiled, then left everyone guessing. The pick wasn't technical analysis. It was a shorthand about balance. A fast rider who's earned a factory look matched with a proven champion equals a pairing that feels right in the garage. In paddock terms, that line signals respect, not animus. But it also quietly suggests expectations about who should be protected, promoted, or given priority inside the same box. If you're a team director reading between the lines, you hear two things. First, that harmony matters as much as lap time. Second, that some riders are seen as logical complements to one another rather than outright threats. This would be a good team. Quote, the line that started it all. The tone is genial, but in a market where image and chemistry count, a public endorsement like that can shape whispers and contracts just as much as results. Asked if this was serious or just a bit of fun, he answered with a shrug and a grin, and then left himself off the sheet. That casual retort performs two jobs at once. It disarms critics and reminds the world that, for now, decisions about seats are still fluid. Behind the lightness sits a strategic posture, a way of saying, I like these people and I respect choices, but I'm not desperate to headline the roster. That stance can be read as confidence, a bargaining chip, or simply a rider protecting his negotiating space. The vagueness is deliberate. It keeps conversations open, lets rumors flow, and gives the speaker, not the factory, the early momentum in any market narrative. The real story isn't the gag, it's the audience. By playfully rearranging the grid, he nudges the brand to consider who best completes the machine and rider puzzle, and whether the factory's recent choices sit right with its champion. Teams listen when champions publicly praise or sideline names, sponsors notice. For the factory, that means the comment does more than amuse, it reframes priorities. The simplest reading is pragmatic, a hint to preserve balance and avoid destabilizing moves. But it can also read as a private reminder that loyalty and working harmony matter as much as pure pace. Marquez's choices are tongue-in-cheek, but also carry a message to Ducati. That sentence explains why the clip spread, casual banter on the surface, strategic nudge beneath it. A clip that began as a playful thought experiment has become a small market-making event. Whether it changes actual signings or simply nudges conversations, the episode shows how much power a well-timed, offhand line from a top rider still carries in MotoGP. Watch the next moves from the factory, and watch how teams react when champions start publicly rearranging the chessboard. Quartararo left Sepang early with a broken finger, but not before delivering a stark verdict on Yamaha's new package. Limited track time amplified concerns. The V4 still feels behind the benchmark machines, and the team's closed garage technical interruption only intensified the uncertainty. We know where we are, we know that we are super far, but we have to accept it, and working hard is the only thing that we can do. That line isn't surrender, it's damage control plus a call to action. Riders and engineers both understand that a restart from a difficult baseline means prioritizing reliability, data gathering, and targeted fixes rather than overnight performance miracles. Quartararo didn't point to one single villain. He listed a set of shortcomings that together explain the gap. Turning, traction, electronics, grip, and power were all flagged as needing attention, a combination that touches every major domain of bike performance. There is still work to do, especially on the turning, on the traction, on the electronics, on the grip, on the power. When problems span chassis, engine, and controls, the fix is complex. Chassis geometry changes, engine mapping, and electronics calibration, each tweak can shift another parameter. Yamaha's engineers will have to prioritize the highest return changes for the next tests. Timesheets made the point visually. Ducati's and other rivals posted sprint simulation pace that left Yamaha trailing. Even on day one, the top marks hinted at a big performance delta that won't be closed by setup alone. We see also how fast they are doing just in the first day. I mean, in just one day, we saw the lap times, and it's unbelievable fast. That surprise leap from rivals suggests they brought effective race spec updates into Sepang. If competitors solved key tire or aero issues over the winter, Yamaha must react with substantive hardware or software gains, not only incremental tweaks. Quartararo framed the situation as a working hypothesis rather than a verdict. He'll return for Burum and the team will regroup. His mindset is to ride at maximum and help the engineers find answers, even if the starting point feels distant. But the only thing I can do is do my best, try to ride at my maximum, and whatever the position is, try to make the best I can. That pragmatic approach keeps pressure on both rider and factory. The rider provides usable feedback at pace. The factory must convert that feedback into measurable gains before the early rounds. Burum is the next milestone, both for track data and for morale. A blunt appraisal from Quartararo has lit a fire under Yamaha's preseason work. Clear technical deficits, a short runway, and a motivated rider. Whether the V4 will close the gap quickly depends on how effectively Yamaha pairs targeted fixes with meaningful test mileage, and how competitors evolve in the same window. Keep an eye on the Burum test for the first concrete sign of progress. Day 2 at Sepang saw Yamaha's riders sidelined almost entirely after a technical irregularity appeared on the first afternoon. The factory reacted conservatively, prioritizing safety over mileage while engineers investigated whether the issue could affect multiple machines. The problem Fabio had on the afternoon of the first day made us think it could happen to other bikes, so we decided to stop the riders. There was a safety issue. In modern MotoGP, where prototypes operate at the edge of mechanical limits, even a low-probability fault demands immediate action. Yamaha's choice to halt running underscores how risk management now shapes preseason strategy as much as pure performance chasing. Once the evaluations were complete, Yamaha resumed running on day 3 without recurrence of the issue. Crucially, the team rejected any suggestion of reverting to its previous spec machine as a fallback option. No. This is the project. It's young and ambitious, so there's no possibility of going back to last year's bikes. That stance signals full commitment to the new V4 era M1. Abandoning it would not only delay development, but undermine the long-term roadmap. Yamaha's leadership sees 2026 not as a quick-fix season, but as a foundation year for sustained recovery. The test also challenged Yamaha's rider management. Opted to stop after his crash, a calculated move during testing rather than racing conditions. Meanwhile, continues adapting to MotoGP machinery after years of superbike success. The bike needs to grow, and the rider will grow with it. That philosophy reflects a synchronized development curve, the machine evolving technically while the rider adapts stylistically. For Razgatlioglu, adapting to Michelin tires and MotoGP aero demands recalibration. For Quartararo, the focus is extracting clarity from limited track time. Pavizio describes 2026 as part of a broader rebuilding arc, following what he called rock bottom in 2024 and measurable progress in 2025. Expectations are realistic, growth may not be linear, but momentum must trend upward. Quote, "Everything we learn about the V4 this year will be useful for next year." That outlook frames 2026 as data investment. Yamaha acknowledges rivals remain ahead, a moving target, yet believes the new bike holds more inherent potential than its predecessor. The objective isn't instant domination, but restoring the trajectory toward the front. Yamaha's Sepang pause was not panic, but precaution. The message from management is clear: safety first, no retreat, long-term vision intact. As preseason continues, the question is not whether there will be ups and downs, but how quickly Yamaha can convert hard lessons into lap time. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!